Hi, I'm Anime Now. Anyway, Elden Ring, Cyberpunk 2077, and now Dota 2 fall to Monster Hunter Wilds as it crosses 1.3 million peak Steam players, despite having a 49% positive review score at the time of the writing of this article. Now, not too much has changed in the past couple of days, but they have managed to move that up to a 52.7 percent rating now, so that's good. It's moved up here. As you can see, in the last 24 hours, 1.2 million players have come through to take a look at the game here, and currently playing are a little over 500,000. Now, you might be wondering, well, if this game's so popular, what's going on? Well, for starters, there's mods going around, and, that's kind of important, as you can see. Mods, they enhance the game in different ways for different players, different ways for different players. Some may feel enticed by the mods, others may have a completely different gaming experience thanks to these mods. What were we talking about? Oh, right. Monster Hunter. Right. So Capcom had to come out and make an official statement about what happened over on the PC side of this. Now, if you bought on the console, everything was hunky dory. But if you were operating through Steam, well, there was a bit of a problem. Apparently, the game was a bit buggy and difficult to run, low frame rates, and quite a few glitches. There's videos of players simply walking through environments almost effortlessly. I said that. Effortlessly. You heard that? Effortlessly. Effortlessly. You see, I don't script these. We just talk about it. We're talking about it. You, me, the comments section. Probably your grandma when this gets shared over onto Facebook. Yeah. I see you over there on Facebook. Don't worry. I see you. Anyway, Hunters, if you're experiencing any initial issues with Monster Hunter Wilds on Steam, please try updating your graphics driver, turning off compatibility mode, and then readjusting your settings. Thank you for your patience and support. Now, the problem is that really wasn't the problem at hand. The situation was, well, for some users anyway, was a typo. Because apparently, what happened here, as you can see from the title from Games Radar, it says Monster Hunter Wilds PC players claim that fixing a random typo in the game's files actually helps its poor performance issues. So, for clarity, we'll just take a look over here at what exactly they're talking about. So, this right here is the error. As you can see, we'll blow it up here so you guys can take a look at it. Ta da! That's not how you spell resolution. That's resolution, right? Resolution. Maybe that's a monster. I don't know. Anyway, when you correct this, apparently what happens is the game sort of, it does its best, I guess, to reference back to a less cluttered environment setting. And so what actually is going on here is that this person explains here, this is from over on Reddit. We don't need to bother with Reddit. Nobody needs to bother with Reddit. Anyway, the notes here explain that what happens when you change the spelling error here, right? The resolution, whatever that is, resolution, whatever. When you change that over to resolution, the situation becomes much easier for your GPU, CPU, and generally just the entire optimization scheme to function. And so what you end up with, rather than having a fix, is that the game itself is calling to a different default setting. So what it is that when you run into this, it's coded into the game to run back to this resolution bit of code right here in the texture files. So while that might be spelled wrong, there's a ton of different coding that calls back to this particular line. So when you change it, you're simply setting off the code callback to a different default setting, which apparently is superior to whatever would have been in the resolution proper spelling. Again, like it doesn't change what the game is. It doesn't change the functionality of the game. It simply changes that the code is calling to a different line now, is how it was explained. I think I understand that correctly. I'm not a game coder. I'm not a person that develops these things. I'm Anime Now, as you can see, and I don't have hands that move around. So quite obviously, I can't type. So here you go. Don't have to worry about typos when you can't type. Ha 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 ha. Got you beat, Monster Hunter Wilds devs. If I could just spit it out, that'd be great. Anyway, back to this. The situation though it got a little weirder because as players engaged with the game, they found that, well, guess what? It's not exactly challenging. It's not exactly difficult either. So what they found is they were kind of zooming through the game, a little bit bored with it, and so Capcom once again comes out and says that the next update, it's not going to fix those PC problems. It's not going to fix that. Don't worry. That's not. We're not going to bother with that. That's not important. However, what is important is making sure that you feel challenged by the game. That's what we got to do. We got to make sure that you feel challenged by the game. I'm not kidding you. The game, they're putting out a patch that makes it harder for you to play. They put it out in like journalist mode. They put it out on like journalist mode. Awful. Awful. But there is hope if you can't find the Resolution line of code, you don't want to go through and screw with that. There is a Nexus mod solution. Now, usually Nexus mods is a bit of a dick. It's not one guy, obviously. It's a whole group of people. The moderating team tends to be a bit hostile toward, well, anything fun, really. Most notably, they took down the Trump Captain America mod for Marvel Rivals, as well as the reskinning of the man from Mali in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. So, not exactly an even handed group of people. However, the people that contribute to Nexus mods are pretty based. And so, this user right here put together an optimizer for the FPS boost. It deals with low CPU, and the visuals are better on the. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. I don't, but you know what I'm talking about. So what we have here is that it removed the minor post-processing effects, the fog, volumetric effects, lens distortion, film grain, the things that they put in here to make it aesthetically pleasing for games journalists. The stuff that you and I, the game players, don't really care about. The stuff that makes it look more like a movie than a video game. And I don't know, I'm just one of those people, I don't really care what it looks like. I just care that it should be playable. You should enjoy what you're doing. Like, you remember Meat Boy? Remember Meat Boy? I mean, that was a very basic looking game. I think it started on Newgrounds. If not, it looked like it did. You had Beat Saber, very basic looking game, very simple 3D environments, if you will. And again, like you're dealing with like a game. You're dealing with a simple challenge in Beat Saber to a more elaborate challenge in games like Monster Hunter Wilds here. But I don't think the graphics are a big deal. You shouldn't be like walking around in a movie. You're playing a video. Just watch a movie. Just watch the Monster Hunter movie. That was really great with the Chinese jokes in there. That was great. That was awesome. It was totally in line with the plot and made perfect sense. And Ron Perlman was totally not completely out of place in it. Ron Perlman was in it, right? Yeah. Anyway, this also optimizes your CPU load, and it tweaks the GPU settings to lower background resolution resource usage without affecting the textures and main visuals. Now, again, this is another thing where they like to layer in these textures. They like to layer in their shadows. They want their God rays. They want all these things in here in order to further demand from your GPU, in order to further demand from your unit as a whole, which delivers nothing, guys. I'm just letting you know. You don't strike harder. You don't get extra points because there's fog on the battlefield. You don't have a better time playing the game because you can't tell a tree from an enemy thanks to how the render distance has gone so low that you can't tell what a shadow is inside of a cloud of dust. So again, it's not great. I don't think it's smart to continue pursuing this kind of stuff because look what happened here. Capcom is a full-on multi-billion-dollar operation, right? Monster Hunter Wilds is multi-year. Like I was talking to a Brazilian friend of mine who played Monster Hunter Wilds, one of the games, on a PSP for God's sakes. It's been around long enough, guys, that you can get this right. The problem is they're pushing the visuals too far. They're pushing the graphics too far because they want to compete with this stupid stuff that other units like the PlayStation and Xbox are doing with this hardware Cold War that they're in. that they've got to outmatch the other one with their visual performance of the game, all their mocapping and all this jazz. And meanwhile, you and I, the player that's got the controller, well, we've got all these super neat cutscenes and the hair moves when the wind blows because it never did that before. Least of all in Final Fantasy Advent Children, which was well over 20 years ago now. But, well, not 20 years ago. It's like well over 15 years ago now, anyway. So, yeah. Anyway, but that's what I'm getting at is that we're going backwards. By pushing these graphics so hard, we're going backwards. Gameplay isn't the priority anymore. It's just what it makes it look like. And that's what Monster Hunter Wilds on the PC paid the ultimate price for. That's why a game that has the highest concurrent player, at least above Dota 2, um, highest concurrent 24-hour player total over here on Steam charts, as we saw, right here. That's why that game that has that many players playing it can have a 52% rating because they didn't care. They just wanted to push the graphics for the consoles so hard it didn't matter what happened with the PC. You have to ask yourself, do you believe that the console wars are really going to be the future of gaming? I don't think so. I think that ship sailed a long time ago. Even Nintendo's just kind of catering to families these days. They understand that the majority of gamers that spend big money on gaming, that spend big money on the experience of gaming, are on PC now. So you have to ask yourself, is this going to keep happening with Capcom? Is this going to keep happening with other development studios, with other publishers, as they continue to push these stupid graphics to suit Xbox and PlayStation and end up not optimizing the end of it for PC, not making sure that the PC end of it is flawless? Because that's where your big money gamers are, guys. If you don't know, the people spending the most money on games, the most money on gaming, are PC gamers. I'm not kidding you. You're not ripping open your PS5 and upgrading it with all these new graphics cards that everybody's having to take a mortgage out on their house in order to buy. No, you're not. That's a sealed system, and as soon as you crack that shell, the warranty's over with. You own that sucker. And that's I don't know. I don't think it's smart. I don't think it's smart to put your eggs in the console basket. These guys should move over to servicing PC and the console secondary. You can see me down in the comments about it, guys. You'll have to let me know what you think about it. And as always, good luck out there.